Hello?
Bess?
And George, too. What's new, Nancy?
I took Joseph's advice and called county administration to see about the blueprints for the theater.
He sounds like a big help.
Yes, but the woman on the phone said that the blueprints are missing.
Official records? Missing?
She said that a man was in last week looking at them, but they haven't been seen since.
The kidnapper? Or a certain smoldering sidekick?
Well, whoever it was, they must have taken the blueprints with them. How on earth am I going to find all the secret rooms and passages in this place now?
I'm not worried, Nancy.
Me neither.
You could probably find a secret passage in a paper bag.
Are you kidding, George? Nancy could find a secret passage in a blueberry muffin.
When I spoke to the police about Maya's press pass, they said that Nicholas is known for using extreme tactics, and that he might even have been involved in a staged kidnapping last year in Nashville.
You don't think Maya could be mixed up with him somehow, do you?
No way. Maya expresses her politics by writing about them. You know, the pen is mightier than the sword. She and Nicholas Falcone don't even speak the same language.
I think you're right, George. But Sergeant Ramsey said I wouldn't have any credit with the police if I joined forces with Nicholas.
Who said anything about joining forces? After all, he's still a prime suspect. But that doesn't mean he's not a valuable source of information when it comes to the theater.
She's right, Nancy. As long as he continues to shoot off his mouth, you want to be around to take notes.
When I arrived at the theater this morning, someone had delivered a funeral wreath.
What?
Isn't that creepy?
You don't know who it was from?
It was from the kidnapper, I assume. The note said something like, "Wouldn't you rather stop the demolition than plan a funeral?"
Since when do kidnappers have the time to special order flower arrangements?
Apparently this kidnapper isn't afraid of the limelight.
Look at the bright side, Nancy. If you find out who sent that wreath, your case is as good as closed.
Okay, you two. I'll talk to you soon.
Good luck!
Be careful.
Hello?
Hi, Ned.
Hey, detective. Any leads?
I'm trying to decide what to do next. Any thoughts?
Maybe you should check in with Joseph.
Bye, Ned.
Keep me posted.
I'm sorry I had to see that wreath, Nancy. It's disgusting.
This is one creepy kidnapper, that's for sure.
Let's hope the kidnapper just did this to scare you.
It's just strange. I mean, why would the kidnapper go to the trouble to have that thing arranged and delivered here?
The phone's been ringing off the hook all morning. I don't know how the press got a hold of this, but they're all over it like ants on a picnic.
Where did those missing posters come from?
I can't say for sure, but I can make an educated guess.
I have a feeling you and I are betting on the same horse here.
Can you believe the way she diverted all of the attention away from Maya and used the poster to promote Brady as the big hero? This shouldn't be happening. It's all backwards.
The police told me Nicholas Falcone is known for using extreme tactics to further his political causes. Why are you letting him use the lobby as his headquarters?
Nicholas has been hanging around this theater since he was a little boy. I know how torn up he is about the theater. This'll be over soon enough, and then he'll go home. I don't think he's dangerous, for gosh sakes.
Gotta go now.
Atta girl. Hey there, Nancy.
Gotta go now.
Atta girl.
Nancy, what's the 411?
Thanks to you, the police think this whole kidnapping is a hoax.
That's all hearsay, Nancy. They got no witnesses, no testimony, no nothing.
So you have or have not used kidnapping to further your causes in the past?
I am not an eco-terrorist, and I would never orchestrate the temporary disappearance of anyone who wasn't in on the plan and down with the cause.
Maybe you'd better think about being in on the law and down with the truth, Nicholas.
All right, Officer Nancy, chill out, will ya? I'm on your side.
Tell me about your relationship with the police.
All I know is they like to dig through my garbage and follow my van. Does this face say America's Most Wanted to you?
Joseph told me that the St. Louis Historical Society is in the process of trying to declare this building an historical landmark.
They've been in that process for years. It's all just a big wad of red tape, a bunch of bureaucratic hocus pocus. Had it's about action, not paperwork.
Catch you later.
On the flip side.
Have you seen the posters? Aren't they fabulous?
That picture of Maya is the one from her press pass, isn't it?
Yes, thankfully she's photogenic.
What if she wasn't photogenic? Would you be less interested in helping her?
Not necessarily. I just have to be more creative about my publicity if I couldn't use photos. Brady's out plastering those posters all over St. Louis and every podunk town for 50 miles. He's due back at any time, though, for the press conference.
What's he doing that for?
Just to make sure this case isn't falling below the public radar. And besides, it's not for sure she's in the building. I've invited the press here today to report on Brady's commitment to solving this case. You know, a few questions, a few photo ops, no big deal. That funeral wreath was awful, wasn't it?
What do you know about that wreath?
I had it moved out front for the press conference. We want the press to know just how heartless this kidnapper is, don't we? Then it's all the more fabulous when Brady saves the day.
I think your phone's about to ring.
Bye now.
I got the number. I left it in the ticket booth. This woman isn't a Houdini herself. She's the widow of one of Houdini's cousins.
But it couldn't hurt to give her a call. I'll get right on that.
Yes, hello.
Hello, is this Eustacia Andropov?
Who else would it be? Everyone else is dead.
Oh, Mrs. Andropov, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm trying to find out some information about Harry Houdini. Is it true that you're his cousin?
Who wants to know?
Oh, I beg your pardon. My name is Nancy Drew. I'm a detective working on a case in St. Louis.
Harry was only my cousin by marriage, but my husband is dead, and so is Harry. So I guess that makes me nobody's cousin. Satisfied?
I'm researching Mr. Houdini's ownership of the Royal Palladium Theater. Would you know anything about this?
He owned it. Half of it anyway, for a few months. Then he died. Does that help?
Do you know what happened to his half? Did he sign it back over to J.J. Thompson?
Return it to James Jehoshaphat, Mr. Stupendous, not on his life. Losing that man was Harry's greatest escape.
Did someone in Houdini's family inherit the theater?
Harry made a plan to give his half of the theater to someone he admired. A young magician, I assume. Perhaps a protege. I remember my husband telling me this.
Can you tell me anything more?
More? I'm 96 over here. I don't exactly have time to burn.
I know it was a long time ago, Mrs. Andropoff, but this is terribly important. My friend is in danger, and finding out what happened to Houdini's half of the theater may be my only hope of saving her.
Call the Library of Congress. Ask about the Houdini collection. There must be something in all of those letters. You tell that Sherman Trout, Eustacia said. You're not dead yet, Shermy, so get up and make yourself useful.
The Library of Congress. You don't happen to have that number, do you?
Well, I should have this letter from Shermy around here somewhere. Cat food coupons. Vincent Jacobs repair. Dear Eustacia. Here we go. Library of Congress, Washington, D.C. 202-555-5000.
Thanks, Mrs. Andropoff. You've been a great help.
Save it for my funeral.
Manuscripts.
I'm trying to reach Sherman Trout, please.
Speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, Mr. Trout. My name is Nancy Drew. I'm a detective working on a case that involves Harry Houdini and the Royal Palladium Theater in St. Louis. Eustacia Andropov recommended I call you.
Ah, yes. Eustacia was most helpful to us when we were assembling our Houdini collection. I presume you'd like to have a look at it?
Yes, please, Mr. Trout. I'm very interested.
Fine. Well, you'll just need to register with the library when you get here and fill out a request for the materials you wish to view. When your request has been processed, the materials will be delivered to one of our reading rooms where you can view them.
Mr. Trout, please let me explain. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to come to Washington, D.C. to do research. I'm hoping you could help me find a document.
Well, Miss Drew, I'm sorry if you have logistical constraints, but please understand my own limitations. The Library of Congress currently holds over 40 million items, contained in 10,000 separate collections. It's the largest and most comprehensive library in the world. I simply don't have time to run research errands for the individual citizens.
Mr. Trout, if I don't solve this case in a matter of hours, the building I'm standing in will be demolished and an innocent 19-year-old girl, a friend of mine, may lose her life. You may be my only hope.
Why is your friend in danger?
She was kidnapped by someone desperate to save this building from demolition.
And what can you possibly be hoping to find in the Houdini collection that would help matters?
Mr. Houdini was part owner of the theater, and I'm trying to find out who inherited his half or what became of it when he died. I'm hoping Houdini might have discussed it somewhere in his personal documents. If I can prove that the current owner is not legally the full owner, then maybe I can get the demolition stopped and save Maya.
I see. Well, this sounds urgent. I suppose I can take a look.
That would be such a help, Mr. Trout. If you find anything, could you overnight it to me at the Royal Palladium?
Well, I certainly can't send you the document itself, It's a historical artifact now, but I could send you a slide. What's the street address there, if I find anything?
It's 1330 Washington Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63101. Please send the package in care of Nicholas Falcone or myself, Nancy Drew. I can't tell you how grateful I am, Mr. Trout. You might just be a lifesaver.
Miss Drew, I assure you, Sherman Trout is a man of his word.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Did you call? What's the story?
Sure did.
Go on, spill it.
She didn't know much, but she gave me the number of this guy at the Library of Congress who has access to the archives of Houdini's letters.
And what did they say?
We're expecting a package. Cross your fingers it gets here in time.
Way to go, Nancy! You're on fire!
Can you believe Brady's agent has called this press conference to trump up his heroics? She can barely even remember Maya's name.
Don't worry, Nancy. This cowboy will be on the scene with a megaphone in each holster. I guarantee you the press will get more than they bargained for.
Catch you later.
Fight the power.
Hey there, Nancy.
Gotta go now.
Don't let the turkeys get you down.
How are you holding up?
You've already been a big help. Is there anything you can tell me about Maya's press pass?
I found it in the basement. The balcony. It was the balcony.
You and Simone think of everything. What about a little side business? Missing Persons Are Us. It's catchy, and it might be a real moneymaker.
Please, Nancy, it's not me.
I guess I should have my eyes checked. I could have sworn that poster was all about you.
It's Simone. She's relentless. I'm just a hostage on her runaway bus.
That's funny. I don't see any gun to your head, just a wad of money dangling in front of your nose.
It's more complicated than you think. Listen, I've got to get ready for this press conference. I'll talk to you later. Not now, Nancy.
What's the status?
Brady seems uncomfortable with some of your, tactics.
Oh, he's just whining because I made him chop off his ponytail. I don't know what's gotten into him with this free will thing. I told him, you can't even dress yourself, kid, but if you want your blockbuster career to crash and burn, go ahead, manage yourself.
I think your phone's about to ring.
Love ya.
Okay, folks, we're about to get started here. Mrs. Mueller and Mr. Armstrong will do their best to answer all of your questions in the time allotted. But let's proceed with good manners, shall we?
Thank you, all, for coming. I'm only sorry that the circumstances of our meeting are not more festive. Wouldn't it be nice if we were all gathered here today to revel in the blockbuster success of Brady Armstrong's new movie, Vanishing Destiny? Wouldn't we all prefer to turn our attention to record ticket sales and the squeals of delighted fans across the nation? But, alas, we have come together today over tragedy, not triumph. I've called this conference specifically to let you know, and I trust you will take it upon yourselves to inform the world, that Brady Armstrong will not rest. The greatest performance of his career will not be unveiled until Maya Nguyen.
Hey, lady, you're breaking my heart. But isn't her name Maya Nguyen?
until Maya Wynn is returned to her friends and family, safe and sound. Already, our real-life hero has searched this theater and uncovered important evidence. Already, he has driven 200 miles in a rent-a-car, no less, distributing missing posters to all the outer-lying regions of this great city. You see, Brady Armstrong is a hero and a regular guy, all rolled into one.
Ooh, I'm swooning.
Put a sock in it, Mr. Camouflage. And now, without further ado, I'd like to open the floor up to questions.
Is it true that the girl was at the theater to interview Brady Armstrong? What was the interview about?
Mr. Charmstrong, do you find your fans respond to you more in your chicken suit or in your curly wig?
Did anyone hear her scream?
Ms. Mueller, you're his agent. Chicken suit or curly wig?
Any speculation of where the kidnapper's hiding her? Where did this funeral wreath come from?
Isn't it a little unusual for a movie star to help with a kidnapping like this?
People, one at a time. Brady.
Well, with all of my experience on the silver screen, I feel well prepared to save the day in St. Louis.
Do you think the kidnapper is violent?
Mr. Charmstrong, have you ever thought about growing a mustache? It might really distinguish you.
Is it true you're offering a reward for the facts leading to Maya's return?
That's right. Autographed movie posters for anyone and everyone who comes forward with a decent lead.
Yes, is it true that that Detective Nancy Drew is on the case?
Yes, Nancy Drew is investigating.
Is she available for comment?
It's a difficult situation. You see, Maya is a friend of Nancy's, and the personal connection, well, it may be clouding the detective's judgment. She's really on edge.
Isn't anybody around here concerned about the welfare of this magnificent theater? There's more than one life at stake today, you know. Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, press people, over here. If you want the real story, talk to me. Sorry, Miss Mueller, you'll have your photo op in a moment. Yeah, over here, down by my van.
It's locked. It's locked.
Get smart, Nancy Drew. You're wasting precious time. Stop the demolition or you'll never see her again.
Hello?
Hi, Ned.
Hey, Detective. Any leads?
According to Joseph, the St. Louis Historical Society has been scrambling to get the Royal Palladium declared an historical landmark.
And that would prevent the demolition?
Right.
So what's the holdup?
Joseph thinks someone downtown is stalling.
Maybe someone who wants the demolition has been greasing some palms.
Probably. It's a shame because Joseph seems to think they're close.
I wonder if this kidnapper is just trying to buy a little more time. What does Mr. Falcone have to say about the Historical Society?
It was pretty cynical. Said the whole process was a bunch of hocus pocus.
Perhaps Mr. Falcone is using cynicism to disguise his true feelings.
I found an old stage technician's guide that explains how some of the illusions were done in the old days when the theater was still used for stage performances.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently, there's elaborate architecture under the stage.
Like what?
Compartments, tunnels, a magician's room of some kind, not to mention trap doors.
Nancy, what are you waiting for?
Well, it appears that in order to access these areas, I would need to operate a switchboard up in the projection room.
Where's Joseph?
I think he's still out dealing with a press conference.
Nancy, you've got to jump on this opportunity. Who knows what you'll find?
I was backstage earlier, and I almost got hit by a falling stage light.
Not again, Nancy.
Yeah, who knew there were so many ways to get crushed in this life?
I'm glad you're okay. Do you think it was an accident?
I don't know. There was no one around the stage, so I guess we could chalk it up to the crumbling theater. But why did it suddenly fall when I was right there?
You've got me there, Detective.
I'm trying to decide what to do next. Any thoughts?
Now that you've got those cages lowered, don't you want to see where those trapdoors lead? Be careful and investigate thoroughly.
Bye, Ned.
I'm rooting for you.
Hello?
Bess?
And George, too. What's new, Nancy?
I asked Joseph where he would go after the theater is demolished, and he said he was moving to Arizona to start a movie theater with his brother.
A fresh start. Good for him.
Yeah, except that I found a letter that says his brother has been dead for years.
Why would he lie? What do you think he's hiding?
Give the guy a break. Maybe he just wants to hide the fact that his life is going to be empty without that theater to look after.
Simone has called a press conference. I'd like to hear what's being said, but I get the feeling I'm not welcome.
Bess, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Here's what I'm thinking. When has the lack of an invitation ever stopped Nancy Drew before? Is that what you're thinking?
Bingo!
So you think I should just barge right in?
Better yet, why not just listen in? That way you know things that Simone and the others don't know you know. You know?
Bess has a few rocks in her mouth. But she's right. And besides, there's another good reason to keep a low profile.
I know what you're thinking, George. When the cats are away,
the detective mouse will snoop.
Ah, you have a point there, ladies. This might be my only chance to get some,
Insight?
Yes, some insight into the lives of my suspects. Good idea.
We're full of them. Right, Bess?
Chock full. Bursting at the seams. We're practically idea-phoric.
I spoke to Sherman Trout at the Library of Congress. He said he'll search Houdini's letters for some indication of what happened to Houdini's half of the theater.
Go, Sherman!
But suppose he does find something. What good will the document do you in Washington, D.C.?
Oh, he said he'll send it to me on a slide.
But how are you going to decipher the writing on a tiny frame of film?
It's a movie theater, remember, Bess?
It is broken.
Broken?
I think the bulb blew when I was using it earlier.
Sounds like you need to give yourself a crash course in projector repair.
I received another threat. This time the kidnapper addressed me by name.
Another phone call? What was the threat?
This one came over the PA. Apparently, searching for Maya is a waste of time, and I should focus on stopping the demolition, or else.
Well, Nancy, this kidnapper may have learned your name, but obviously they haven't figured out the first thing about who they're dealing with.
I just wish I could see the look on the kidnapper's face when you crack this case wide open.
Okay, you two. I'll talk to you soon.
Watch out for weird people!
Maya! pieces won't budge. Help! Is anybody out there?
Who's there?
It's Nancy.
Nancy? For goodness sakes. What are you doing down there? This chair seems to be stuck. Hold on, I'm greasing the wheels here.
I found a secret room under the stage. I've got to check it out.
Magician's room. I swear, Nancy, as long as I've worked here, I've never been able to find my way in there.
I found the door, but the pieces that open the door are stuck.
Here, try this. Hurry.
This should loosen things up.